Hey everybody, how's it going? So we're going to do something a little different today for SMG viewers' comments. I am on location in Akihabara, Tokyo, Japan, and it's about to get nerdy in here.
How does that $259 guitar feel in the hands? He's coming for our pedal boards next, lads.
Well, to tell you the truth, that $259 guitar is absolutely freaking amazing. That's why I keep recommending it over and over and over again. Here's the thing, if you have been paying attention at all in the last 10 years, the CNC manufacturing has changed the world of guitar. You don't have to spend tens of thousands of dollars to get a high quality instrument. You can get something great for under $1,000. Hell, you can get something great for under $300. What I don't understand is why guitar snobs insist on gatekeeping guitar playing.
Glenn, I listened to your advice on buying a used 6505 plus 60-watt combo for only $500. That's a really good price nowadays, especially in Norway. But I want to change out the speaker like you said. Is using a greenback that's only rated at 25 watts a bad idea? I also really like the sound of the EVH speaker, but it is only 20 watts.
All right, so the problem here is you've confused the speaker's power handling versus its sensitivity rating. And that's the big thing most guitar players seem to forget all about, is sensitivity rating. That means how loud the actual speaker will be at 1 meter if you put, say, 10 watts through it. Now, the greenback, although it's rated for 25 watts power handling, it does have a sensitivity rating of 98 decibels, which means it's loud as hell. You're not gonna have to put a whole lot of power into it to get it to sound freaking loud. That's the great thing about it. Ever notice how amps just sound really, really, really loud when you just start to turn them up a little bit, and then they don't get super loud as you go? It's because it works on a bell curve. Same thing with your speaker. You only gotta put a couple of watts into it for it to be really freaking loud. So all you gotta know is this. If you have, say, like a 50, 60 watt amp head, you don't have to put 50 or 60 watts into that speaker to get it to sound loud. Always keep that in mind and check your speaker's sensitivity rating. That's the important number you should be looking at, not the power handling.
Are deoxygenated cables worth it?
9 out of 10 tone snobs agree. The only way to get great tone is to use deoxygenated cable, and the more money you spend, the better it's gonna sound.
The ability to self-publish music is the worst thing to happen to music, with recording assumed to be damaged along the way. Because so many people who absolutely suck at music have not been kept away from the CD duplicating machine as a result.
Yeah, great observation. Tell you what, instead of sitting around and bitching about everybody else having access to recording, why don't you blow us all away with your amazing songwriting?
To all your horrified and opinionated followers, if you don't want to purchase the gear to do the tone comparison, Long & McQuaid does rent gear.
Unfortunately, I don't think most of the viewers are going to know what Long & McQuaid's is. That's basically Canada's largest music store, and yes, you can rent stuff there from cheap, but you're also making the assumptions that these people aren't going to be lazy, because doing tests actually requires effort, and that's the only thing standing between most musicians and success.
Glenn, active EMGs and single coils in the quack position totally sound the same. Especially if you consider all my scientific tests, where I test all the bridge pickups on 4 different guitars with all the tone knobs rolled back to 1. Glenn, again, American guitars are ass. No history of rock and roll there. Let me get that chips in, yo. Yet again, Glenn, why aren't you American guitarists who watch these vids subscribing to me after I just verbally shit all over your beloved guitars? Me. Glenn should just take some of his new guitar money and buy some guitar lessons before you try and sell me on another bowl of rice with frets.
You know, it's comments like that I'm kind of afraid to put on YouTube. I just don't want to get demonetized for quoting a racist asshole like this. Here's a tip, buddy. If you're really that upset about what I say on the video, maybe you should try quoting me accurately. Then you wouldn't be so upset, because everything you said there, I never actually came out and said. You've connected some dots that I haven't laid out. You've made a conclusion that I never said. The only advice I can give is this: try watching my videos again, and this time try paying attention to what is actually being said. You might be a whole lot happier. I mean, that thing about EMGs versus single coils sounding the same, I've never once said that. Boy, talk about a stupid observation. Dude, whose ass did you pull that statement out of? Because it sure as hell wasn't mine. I even said in a blind test, we can definitely hear the difference between single coils and humbuckers. Thing is though, that's about as far as it goes. Anything further, the lines get a little bit blurred.
Holy shit, that drum mix!
Thanks so much for the compliment. For all you guys who are wondering what the hell that was, that's in reference to the full mix I did on the Lewitt Ray mic. I really recommend checking that video out. And if you want to get some more information on how that's all going to fit together, I've got a video out. It might be out by the time this episode airs. That is called Why Your Snare Drum Sounds Like Shit in a Full Mix. Give a whole breakdown on how to get that snare sound using an acoustic drum. It's a really cool system of working, and it doesn't use a whole lot of compression. Really great stuff. Highly recommend checking it out if you're struggling with your drum sounds.
Oh, Glenn, I must say your mixes have drastically improved in sound in the last months. I honestly didn't like them a lot before now, but it seems like you nail everything and the mixes sound like something I would actually like an album to sound like.
Well, I've been studying a lot of Andy Wallace's mixes, and I gotta say, I think Mr. Rupert Neve might have had something to do with it as well. All I can say is make sure you check some of my tutorials, why your drums sound like shit in a mix, why your snare sounds like shit in a mix, and I kind of lay it all out for you, not only for acoustic drums, but for programmed drums as well. For all you guys who are wondering, hey Glenn, you never do tutorials anymore. Yes, I do. You just have to click on them. Make sure you do that. You might just learn something along the way.
F you and your microphone tips, Glenn. Back in the day, we put a fucking cassette recorder in the middle of our rehearsal room, and the recording was awesome. Well, at least if you knew the songs and weren't older than 14.
Man, we used to do it exactly the same way when I was a kid, just with a cassette recorder. We'd put actually at the end of the room. And yeah, I think I've still got those tapes kicking around somewhere. I don't think anybody's ever gonna hear those because they're fucking horrible. But it was an awful lot of fun, and hey, I thought that was the whole point of recording music, was to have fun.
So much sense spoken about amps versus speakers. You should try listening to the shite that synth purists talk about hardware versus plugins. I'm old enough to have played many of the old synths, but since I can't afford a CS80, etc., there are spectacular sims available that I use and do.
Yeah, you know, it really doesn't seem to matter what genre you're into, whether it be guitars or synths or whatever. There's always going to be a bunch of gatekeeping purist assholes who are going to tell you you're not good enough because you didn't buy the super expensive thing. Hell, it happened in recording too. I mean, like, look at all the snobs out there when it comes to vintage mics, to vintage preamps, and does it really make that big of a difference? I'm not so sure. Don't let anybody tell you that you're not good enough because of the size of your pocketbook. It should be what's coming out of the speakers that matters the most.
I put captures of cheap amps with a shitty reputation through good IRs. Shock, horror, it actually sounds great.
You mean the sounds in the speaker? In this case, the digital copy of the speaker? No, couldn't be that. Dude, you got it all wrong. You need better pickups.
Buyer beware. I decided to take Glenn's advice and got a used empty crate 4x12 cab. I also bought 4 Celestion Midnight G12N60 speakers to fill it. Well, the holes are 11 inches and the speaker is 11.125 inches. So now I have to router the hole to fit them in. Cab was $75, speakers $110 each on Amazon. Most speakers have an 11.1 to 11.125 mounting hole size requirement.
Dude, when the hell did I say to ever buy a crate cab? Yo, it's great that you bought yourself a cab and want to experiment with speakers, but at least start with something at least decent. Even those old Behringer cabinets are great platforms to swap the speakers out. But the crate cabs, maybe not so much.
Mate, the things you are saying are like, yes, this is obvious, right? Wrong. People who do not work as sound engineers or other engineeries have to deal with this kind of nonsense you just described. You can torture them and they will still provide you with shit results. Garbage in, garbage out, as the IT guy says. Sadly, no one cares about the people who really care about the process. Please excuse my grammar.
You know, that's one of the things I noticed early on with the show. I'd start doing videos on how to do certain things, and a lot of people say, dude, that's just common sense. Unfortunately, musicians are not known for being good at common sense.
You know, it blows my mind. People will say stuff like, I changed from tube brand X to tube brand Z, and now my tone is so much better. Tube brand Z is the best, but then they forget why they changed tubes to begin with. Your old tubes were probably getting old and didn't sound as good as they used to. So you decided to change them. Of course, the new ones sound better. You changed the tubes because the old ones were worn out. Come on, you guys, pay attention to what is literally right in front of you. You're literally doing the things that make perfect sense and then spouting the most nonsensical crap out of your mouth about what you just did.
Dude, come on, man, that is so wrong. Guitar players are always right about tubes. I mean, come on, they spent money, of course it's gonna sound better. Duh.
Thank you so much for everything. Not only am I learning really good lessons with home recording, I did recommend your channel to a bunch of people that want to start playing, but don't know where to start. There are so many people out there that thinks you need the most expensive stuff to sound good, not thinking about theory and practice. Love your stuff and you handsome bastard. P.S. Yes, we are all subscribed and I just bought 2 of your plugins. They are fucking kick-ass. And guess what? One of the guys bought the Blue Benton that you recommended and he loves it. I've recorded with it and boy, what a kick-ass sound for the low cost. Stay awesome, dude.
Hey man, that is fantastic. Your friend liked the blue Benton. I'm so happy I could help. And I'm sure that's gonna piss off the guy who made the first comment in this video who was going, oh, the $249 guitar, how does that feel? Well, apparently it feels great. Not just to me, but to your buddy as well. So I'd like to say to the guy at the beginning of the video who bitched about that blue Benton, I don't know, maybe don't worry about the price tag so much and maybe worry about what people think of what you're playing. That might help you get better results. I don't know, just my idea. Anyway, thanks to everybody for watching the show. This is me signing off from the nerdiest place on earth, Akihabara, Tokyo, and I'll see you guys next week. Thanks again for watching. And if you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, remember, it's absolutely free. The thing musicians love more than anything else in the world, something that doesn't cost money. Hit the freaking button. I'll see you guys next week.